She didn't just insult him, she crushed him in front of the entire building. The billionaire CEO's heels echoed sharply across the marble floor as she pointed at the janitor kneeling beside a streak of glass. Her voice sliced through the bright corporate hallway like a blade. He froze, clutching a blue cleaning cloth in one hand, eyes lowered, swallowing the humiliation like he had done so many times before. Before we go further, if you believe that kindness matters more than status, that second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us who we truly are. His name was Daniel Reyes, a 34-year-old single father who worked the early morning shift at Valmont Technologies, one of the largest tech firms in the country. To most people in the building, he was invisible, a man in gray coveralls pushing a cart, wiping surfaces that others dirted without a second thought. But to 7-year-old Sophia, he was everything. He was bedtime stories whispered in a tiny apartment, scraped knees kissed better, and warm pancakes on Sunday mornings even when money was tight. Daniel hadn't always been a janitor. Years ago, he had worn a suit too. He had served in the military, deployed overseas, where he learned discipline, sacrifice, and the weight of responsibility. But when Sophia's mother left during his second deployment, leaving behind only a short letter and a newborn baby, Daniel came home to a different battlefield. The corporate job he once had was gone. His savings drained quickly under medical bills and childcare. Pride didn't pay rent, and so he took the first job he could find, cleaning floors in a building filled with people who would never know his story. That morning, however, something was different. Victoria Hale, the billionaire CEO of Valmont Technologies, was known for her sharp mind and sharper tongue. At 42, she had built her empire through relentless ambition. She believed weakness had no place in business, and she ruled her company the same way she believed the world had ruled her, harshly. Employees feared her sudden inspections. When she walked the corridors, silence followed. Daniel had been wiping down the glass railing when Victoria's assistant accidentally knocked over a cup of coffee, splashing it across the polished floor. Daniel moved quickly, kneeling to clean it before anyone slipped. But Victoria saw only inconvenience. Her voice rose cold and impatient, accusing him of being in the way, of slowing things down, of being careless. 3 executives stood behind her, watching. The humiliation burned through Daniel's chest, but he kept his head bowed. He had learned long ago that arguing rarely changed minds. He thought of Sophia's school fees due next week. He thought of the rent. He kept scrubbing. Then she said something that pierced deeper than the rest, that some people were simply meant to clean up after others, that ambition wasn't for everyone. That was when he lifted his arm to stand, and the sleeve of his uniform slid back. On his wrist, etched in dark ink, was a military insignia, a special operations emblem, unmistakable to anyone who had ever seen it. A symbol awarded only to those who had survived one of the most dangerous rescue missions in recent history. Victoria stopped mid-sentence. The hallway went silent. Her eyes locked onto the tattoo, and something inside her shifted. Years ago, during a kidnapping incident involving her younger brother while he was traveling abroad, a classified rescue team had intervened. The media never revealed names, only that a small unit had risked everything to bring the hostages home. Her brother had returned alive because of them. She had attended a private ceremony once, standing at the back, watching decorated soldiers receive quiet commendations. And she had memorized that symbol. Daniel noticed her silence but said nothing. He had never used his service for attention. The tattoo was not for show, it was a reminder of brothers lost and promises kept. It reminded him that even in darkness, courage mattered. Victoria's face paled. The powerful CEO who moments ago radiated control now looked uncertain. She asked him quietly where he had served. Daniel answered simply, without embellishment. He mentioned the year. The location. The mission. It was the same mission. In that instant, the polished walls of Valmont Technologies seemed smaller. The hierarchy that had felt so solid began to crack. Victoria realized the man she had belittled had once carried lives on his shoulders, perhaps even her brother's. Guilt flooded her, but more than that, shame. She had built her empire on the idea that success defined worth. Yet here stood a man whose worth had nothing to do with titles or bank accounts. Over the next few days, something changed in the building. Daniel was called into her office, not to be reprimanded, but to talk. She learned about Sophia, about the late nights, about the way he balanced cleaning shifts with helping his daughter practice reading. She learned that he had turned down higher-paying but unstable work because he needed predictable hours to pick Sophia up from school. For the first time in years, Victoria listened instead of commanded. But Daniel's greatest challenge was not humiliation, it was exhaustion. Being a single parent meant every cold, every school project, every fear in the night rested on him alone. There were nights he sat at the kitchen table after Sophia slept, staring at unpaid bills, wondering if he was enough. He carried invisible scars from war, memories that sometimes returned uninvited. Yet each morning, he put on his uniform and chose dignity. Weeks later, during a company-wide meeting, Victoria did something no one expected. She spoke not of profits or acquisitions, but of perspective. She acknowledged that greatness was not confined to corner offices. Without naming Daniel's story in detail, she shared how courage often hides behind ordinary roles. She announced a new veterans hiring initiative, expanded childcare support for employees, and tuition assistance programs. And then she did something even more unexpected. She offered Daniel a position in the company's operations department, recognizing his leadership background and strategic training. Not as charity, but as opportunity. Daniel hesitated at first. Change meant risk. But when he looked at Sophia drawing pictures of Daddy the hero on scrap paper, he realized that sometimes accepting help was also courage. Months passed, and the janitor who once knelt on marble floors now sat at planning tables, his insights shaped by discipline and humility. He remained the same man, grounded, kind, quiet, but the world finally saw him. Victoria changed too. Power, she realized, meant nothing without humanity. She began walking the halls differently, greeting employees by name. The empire she built grew stronger not from fear, but from respect. If this story has touched your heart so far, please pause and comment the word respect below. Let's fill the comments with a reminder that every person deserves dignity. On Sophia's 8th birthday, Daniel brought her to the company's family open house. She ran through the lobby laughing, her small hand wrapped tightly around his. Victoria watched from across the room as Sophia pointed proudly at her father and told anyone who would listen that he used to save people. Daniel caught Victoria's eye, and for a moment, no words were needed. The insult that once echoed in that hallway had transformed into something else, understanding. Life rarely announces turning points. Sometimes they come in the form of a single glimpse, a tattoo on a wrist, a truth revealed at the right moment. Sometimes the people we overlook carry stories heavier than we can imagine. As the sun streamed through the same glass railing Daniel once cleaned, he stood taller. Not because his title had changed, but because he never let bitterness change him. If this story moved you, if it reminded you to look twice before judging someone, please like, share, and engage with this video. Your support helps spread stories that inspire compassion and second chances. Because you never know, the person kneeling on the floor today might be the hero who once saved someone's world.